Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on my channel. If you don't know who I am already, my name is Nick Barton. I cover the Toronto Marlies for the Leafs Nation, and in today's video, we're going to talk about Maple Leafs prospect Pontus Holmberg coming from Sweden and joining the Toronto Marlies. Just before we do get into the video though, I asked for 150 likes in the last video. We unfortunately didn't get it, so let's try and hit 125 likes on this video for Pontus Holmberg joining the Toronto Marlies. Leave a comment down below for any videos you'd like to see in the future, or any comments in general that you have on the Toronto Marlies or the Leafs. And as always, if you really enjoy the video, make sure to subscribe. It helps a lot. Now let's talk about Pontus Holmberg. He was signed by the Maple Leafs to an entry-level deal last June, and he spent the last season in Sweden and has now come over to Toronto. And if you don't know much about Holmberg, he was drafted in the 6th round of the 2018 draft. He's a 5'11", 179-pound left shot. He can either play the left wing or he could play at center, so he's very reliable in both those aspects. This past season in the SHL, Holmberg had 41 points in 46 games, which isn't bad. He also played for Team Sweden at the Olympics, if you can remember. He played pretty good there too in the limited role he had. He's 23 years old, so he's still on the young side, but he's getting to that point where he's not considered a prospect soon. So it was always best, and always, I think, the plan to get him over to Toronto just to see how he fits in with the Toronto Marlies, and just to see how his North American game is compared to his game in the SHL. Now, I didn't know how to approach this video. I don't want to really talk about Holmberg just in general and what he could bring to this Marlies team, because the Marlies are in a playoff race of their own. They have 6 games remaining on the season. I don't really know how much Holmberg is going to get to play. In the last 6 games of this regular season for the Marlies, they're going to have to win a lot because they have the Rochester Americans breathing down their neck for that final playoff spot. And in general, if the Marlies don't win as many games as Rochester does in the last final few, they're not going to be in the playoffs. And then what are you going to do about Holmberg? What are you going to do about Max Ellis? A few of the other players that the Marlies have signed. We know a few are going to go up to the Leafs, but what about those other ones? It's just so interesting that they'd bring him over at this point of the season, because I don't really know if he's going to get into games. I think down the stretch he might get into one, but you have to look at the systems that he has to learn. You have to look at who he might fit with, and the Marlies aren't going to have much practice time in these final 6 games, so it's going to be difficult to know whether or not he gets into one or not. But as we know, Pontus Holmberg is a good player, and I wanted to throw up these stats via Kyle Cushman of the Leafs Nation. He has a nice little, I don't know whether you call it a graph or you call it just some numbers on Holmberg, which shows how good he's been this season in Sweden, and that might be able to translate over to North America. And if that's possible, if they think he can, there's obviously going to be some chances for him to get into some games down this stretch for the Marlies. But when you look at the players that are out of the lineup right now, you're looking at Pavel Gogolev, who had a good stint with the Newfoundland Growlers and is now back with the Marlies. You look at Max Ellis, another player who is a little bit farther away, in my opinion, than Holmberg. But there's a few other players, Graham Slaggert, Tommy Miller, I'm forgetting Marshall Rafai, who the Marlies have signed to these deals, and we really don't know what's going on with them, whether or not they're going to play in an AHL game in the future, or if they're just being in Toronto for development purposes. Like I said in a recent video though, some of these players, including Rafai, including Graham Slaggert, including Max Ellis, they're not always involved in the Marlies' sole practices. They'll have a practice, and then after that practice will come the development team, as well as those players that I just discussed. So again, we really don't know where Holmberg is going to be. Is he going to be with the development squad? Is he going to be with the Marlies? Is he going to get some time in both in these final 6 games of the season? It's going to be interesting to see. I just wanted to make a quick video on the announcement that he's coming to Toronto and that he might get into some AHL games. I honestly have no idea what they're going to do with him, because at one point I think it's always good to test him in the AHL and see where he's at in that aspect, but as well, if you're trying to get into the playoffs and you don't want to lose games, I don't know whether or not the Marlies, Greg Moore, would really want to risk that and just seeing how Holmberg would play in the AHL. Let me know what you think though. Am I wrong for thinking that Holmberg should be looking on the outside in and maybe should be getting time with the development staff rather than going into the Marlies lineup? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Before I do end off the video though, I wanted to show you a little bit of what the AHL playoff race looks like between the Marlies and the Rochester Americans. The AHL is going off winning percentage this season, so it's a little bit different. As well, the playoff format for the AHL is a little different because the Marlies will be playing, I believe, the 4th seed in a first best of 3 round, and whoever wins that goes on to the 2nd round, and if you're in the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd seeds, you get a bye, which to me it's kind of weird. Somebody I was talking to related it to the NBA play-ins tournament, where you come in, you're a seed, a certain seed, and you play these games to get into the playoffs, which I think is a little weird, but anyways. The Marlies have 6 games left. Rochester has 5. The Marlies, I believe, have a .561 winning percentage. Yes, they do, over Rochester's .556. So let's just do it by the magic number. Marlies need 11 points to clinch a playoff spot. Rochester needs 12. So Rochester only has 5 games left. So in reality, they're not going to hit that number of 12. But the Marlies need to win games. If they don't win games and Rochester does, they're going to be creeping up and they're going to eventually pass them. And then there's no AHL playoffs for the Toronto Marlies. So again, at this point, I don't know whether or not you bring Pontus Holmberg here to try and get him into the last final 6 games of the season, or you just ice your best lineup possible to try and get a playoff spot and try and just at least get into that 1st round. Again, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. That's just my opinion. But other than that, I don't have anything else for today. I'm going to make a video in the next few about a few players on the Marlies who could get the call up to the Leafs and who would be good players in the playoffs for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So yes, that will be in the coming days, so stay tuned for that. But that is going to be it for this video. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for all the support on everything. Seriously, it means a lot. Just seeing the view count go up, it's just mind-boggling to see that people are actually watching and enjoying these videos, but it seriously, again, means a lot. So if you did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like. Let's try and hit 125 likes on this video. Comment down below anything you'd like to see in the future, or just any Marlies, Leafs questions, or any comments or concerns. Put them in the comment section down below. And if you really enjoy the video, subscribe. It helps a lot. And again, thank you so much for all the support. It means a lot. It means the world. And we'll see you in the next video.